Here are spoilers for Sister Wives' 4th episode of Season 20. The audience previously witnessed Robyn and Kody nearly selling their home, but the sale fell through because they couldn't agree on whether to keep or sell Kody's beloved table. In addition, Kody and her spouse were traveling to North Carolina when they were struck by a tornado. The pair managed to escape the tornado, though, and waited for the weather to calm down. In other parts of the show, Maddie disclosed that she was expecting her 4th child, and that the date of her due date coincided with Garrison's passing. The joyful news filled the household with delight. In the most recent episode, Kody discussed many marriages, while Christine questioned her abilities as a mother. What else took place in the 4th episode? To find out, continue reading. Meri is now giving her romantic life another try, according to a recent Sister Wives admission. She even had feelings for a guy at a speed dating event. She is still unsure, though, if she has already met the one. Her best friend, Jen Sullivan, is there to support her, so she doesn't need to worry. Meri has been urged by Jen to take the initiative and locate a partner. Additionally, Sullivan thinks her best friend is capable of doing far better than Kody. Gift baskets for Kody Brown's book. Meri received a message throughout the show that she thought said, "Kiss the pup," but that wasn't what it stated. After explaining the meaning of the message to her best buddy, Jen went on. Meri barely made it through the speed dating session, as viewers will recall. Would she be successful in finding her Mr. Perfect? Will she be able to find true happiness with someone? We'll find out in time. Christine has already publicly voiced her displeasure with her daughter Kody's relocation to North Carolina. But she assisted Kody, Tony, and their kids with their move with the support of her husband, David. Janelle joked that she would have all the grandchildren to herself in the most recent episode, which offended Christine. Kody desired for her kids to spend their formative years with their cousins. Only Maddie and Kody currently have children. However, will Christine and Janelle start to argue about the grandchildren? Kody and Robyn moved into their new home elsewhere in the show. Kody hoped the guest house would inspire his children to visit more frequently. His problematic ties with his older children were previously mentioned. Kody talked to a younger man about polygamy as well. He said that he now understands the ineffectiveness of plural marriage. Brown was attempting to persuade others to steer clear of the same errors. These remarks were made by a man who had 4 wives and lived with them for almost 30 years before they separated. Kody is aware of how dysfunctional polygamy is. Brown is currently exclusively wed to Robyn. However, you never know. What if Robyn and Kody decide to give polygamy another go? According to Robyn, she thought they could have had a successful marriage. Does she have any hopes that they will be successful in a second attempt at multiple marriage? Did she not already learn the lesson the first time? Who knows? Sister Wives is still a drama and emotional roller coaster that challenges long-held beliefs and breaks hearts. There will be plenty of heart-stopping scenes, thought-provoking discussions, and the kind of unvarnished vulnerability that initially drew viewers to this TLC powerhouse in the future episodes. This is the type of Sister Wives narrative that makes viewers reach for tissues and prepare for impact. From Meri Brown re-entering the dating scene to Christine Brown sobbing over her regrets as a parent to Kody Brown facing his polygamous background. Let's explore the emotional whirlpool that surrounds the Browns, where every discussion is fueled by love, sorrow, and a search for purpose. Meri Brown is officially prepared to move on. This season, Meri's tale finally takes a turn toward independence after years of heartache, loneliness, and emotional separation from Kody. As Meri sits in her comfortable bed and breakfast in Utah at the start of the episode, the camera records her anxiously browsing through her phone. It feels strange, she confesses, laughing shyly. It has been more than 30 years since I went on a date with someone new. Jen, her best friend, shows up on FaceTime to make fun of her for using dating apps and to help her write a bio. Jen remarks, "You need to come across as confident, Meri. You feel a great deal. Take ownership of that." However, the vulnerability is widespread. "It's scary," Meri says in a confessional, wiping away her tears. "Being one of Kody's wives was my identity for a very long time. I lost sight of what it meant to be wanted." Meri is shown in the episode going to a local singles event, something she never thought she would accomplish in her lifetime. She is wearing a stylish denim jacket and black boots, and while she looks amazing, she is clearly nervous. The tension is relieved as a man named Andrew starts a discussion. Meri blushes and smiles when he compliments her laugh. "It was nice to talk to someone who saw me, not the plural wife, not the TV personality, just Meri," she says later, reflecting on the encounter. "I felt free for the first time in ages." It's a potent moment that represents not just letting go of Kody, but also regaining her value following decades of emotional abuse. Christine's plot takes a dramatic turn while Meri is experimenting with dating. Fans won't soon forget the heartbreaking confessional in which the normally cheerful, sunny mother of 6 breaks down in tears. She is cooking dinner for David Woolley and her kids, Truly and Sable, in her Salt Lake City kitchen as the scene begins. Christine becomes silent as the air is filled with laughing, her eyes hazy as she gazes at her kids. She mumbles, "I feel like I made a mistake, but I'm so thankful for this life." Christine completely loses it in her confessional. "I convinced myself that I was acting in my children's best interests when I parted ways with Kody, and I still think so. However, it aches to see them now battle with trust and unrestricted love. Somehow, I feel like I let them down." She remembers how hard it was to be emotionally stable in the last years of her marriage, describing a tense and silent home. Christine's voice quivers as she says, "I tried to hold it together. However, there were evenings when I stopped myself to sleep in the hopes that they wouldn't hear. I may have been training them to conceal their sorrow, but I believe I was protecting them." The fact that Christine doesn't mope is what gives this moment such significance. She later attends a therapy session with Truly after facing her emotions head-on. Christine's guilt is gently reframed by the therapist, who says, "You showed them what courage looks like, Christine. You didn't fail them by leaving." With a hopeful voiceover, Christine walks in the Utah mountains at the end of the episode. She whispers, "Perhaps healing doesn't mean you forget the hurt. Perhaps it signifies that you have at last forgiven yourself." Next up is Kody Brown, the guy himself. Fans have been wondering for months how Kody would handle his present situation, which includes 3 spouses dead, only one surviving, Robyn, and a broken family still in shock from his failed polygamous dream. That long-awaited reckoning is presented in this episode. Kody sits by himself in his backyard in Arizona and seems quiet, even eerie. The self-righteous tirades and defensive outbursts are over. Rather, we see a man struggling with the consequences of decisions that once seemed inspired by God. "When I began this journey, I thought polygamy was the path to heaven, to love, to abundance," Kody acknowledges in his confessional. However, it eventually turned into a matter of control. Concerning ego, his voice cracks as he glances down. "I believe that having several wives made me strong. However, it might have simply broken me." He and Robyn later get together to talk about their marital status. She says, "I love you, Kody," with tears in her eyes. "However, I miss our family. I miss the commotion, the laughs, and the time spent together. We don't feel like we signed up for this." Kody leans forward and sighs. "I understand, and I am unable to retrieve it. I now realize that I was holding a family captive, even though I believed I was leading one." Fans who have long chastised Kody for his lack of responsibility are shocked by the candor. Kody considers his spiritual uncertainties in one of his most vulnerable moments ever. He whispers, "Perhaps God didn't ask me to live in multiple marriages. Perhaps I only wanted him to." That remark carries a hefty burden. For the first time, audiences witness a man devoid of his bluster, inquisitive, unsure, and almost modest. A Sister Wives episode wouldn't be complete without some crossfire, of course. Meri, Janelle, and Christine talk about the current situation between them and Kody in a collaborative sit-down interview that was recorded individually but edited together. For the benefit of their children, Janelle acknowledges that she is amenable to dialogue, but not to reconciliation. "There's no turning back," she asserts. "I've moved on from that phase of my life." "I think forgiveness matters," Meri says, nodding in accord. "For me, not for him." "We all had our own versions of the same pain," adds Christine, who is still distraught from her previous admission. "We were ladies attempting to love a man who was incapable of showing us the same level of affection. I believe that's what we're finally witnessing now." One of the most emotionally intense montages in Sister Wives history is created by the editors by cutting these instances together with Kody's own comments. A disturbing mixture of regret, closure, and newly discovered tranquility is the eventual outcome. Fans expressed a wide range of emotions on social media following the online peak, from amazement to tears of empathy. "I've never seen Kody look that broken," a fan wrote on Twitter. "Perhaps he now knows what those women endured." "Christine's confession broke my heart," another person wrote. "She simply carried too much on her own, yet she's a wonderful mother." In the meantime, there is a lot of excitement surrounding Meri's dating plot. "Yes, MBRI. Live your life to the fullest," one commenter wrote. "After everything, she deserves happiness." TLC has hinted that Meri would investigate a serious connection, with an unidentified man she meets through common connections in upcoming episodes. Fans are ecstatic to see her finally shine her light, whether it lasts or not. For Sister Wives, the emotional roller coaster of this episode signifies a clear transition from survival to self-discovery. Now, each of the Browns is on a distinct journey, learning to love fearlessly and rediscovering who she is outside the title of plural wife, is facing her most painful motherhood scars and finding atonement in forgiveness, is confronting the deteriorating basis of the ideology he established and pondering if it is possible to reconstruct from the wreckage. By the last scene, the tone had changed from dramatic to contemplative. As each member of the family shares a parting reflection, the camera moves around the Utah landscape. "I'm not sure what's going to happen next," Meri replies with a soft smile. "I am relearning how to breathe," Christine murmurs. And Kody just murmurs, "Maybe it's time to start over," as he gazes off into the desert. The words "to be continued" emerge as the screen becomes black. Truth is the focus of this Sister Wives episode, not controversy or yelling battles. It's not the agonizing beauty of beginning anew after your dream fails. Fans have been watching these families deal with faith, envy, love, and heartbreak under one roof for more than 10 years. Now, however, we see them change, not as polygamous people or co-wives, but as people rediscovering themselves when the titles fade. Meri's bravery in going out again. Christine's optimism and pain. Kody is facing failure and faith. Everything about Sister Wives is achingly real, dirty, and human. One thing is clear as this new chapter develops. Even though the Browns no longer live together, the intricate, lovely bonds of love, sorrow, and the unwavering quest for freedom will always be a part of their story.